Let's talk about something everybody wants. More money, more of that green stuff. Everyone would like more money, more opportunity, and more choices. So what if I could tell you, over the last 3 years, I've doubled my income every single year into multiple six figures just by following 5 simple steps that I want to share with you that can totally change your life. So it's like, what would it be like if you could actually increase your earning power, if you could take control of your mind, if you could tap into a deeper level of potential, because that's what you're gonna learn. 5 things that literally will change your life. They changed mine when I learned them, and they changed mine when I implemented them. This is Jake Ducey from jakeducey.com, and let's drop into 5 money mindsets that will change your life forever. Number 1, money is not good or bad. It's simply a medium of exchange. That's all it is. It's a medium of exchange. People say, well, money isn't everything. It's such a silly question. It's such a silly statement to make. That's like saying when somebody says, hey, I want a burrito. Well, you're like, burritos aren't everything. Well, burritos are valuable in the arena that they're used, which in this instant is food. Money is valuable in the arena that it's used, which is options, which is paying for your home, for your electricity, for this camera, for the phone or computer you're on to hear this video at this very second. Money is valuable in the arena that it's used. Of course, it's not everything. That's a silly question. It's not good or bad, it's a medium of exchange. And when you grasp this, you can create a healthier relationship with money. Because it's like if you were trying to woo a woman or a man into a romantic relationship, whatever your sexual preference was, you were just trying to woo somebody in. If you thought they were evil, what do you think the chances are that you would come up with a way to woo them into your life? What do you think? Do you think they would even want to come into your life if you thought that they were evil? No. And you wouldn't find the initiative to create that. Why? Because it's out of alignment with your own mental programming. So why would you want it? Right? You wouldn't be able to create it. So how do you expect to create more money in your life if you have a negative relationship with money? It's impossible. It's literally impossible, because subconsciously you know that it's bad, and subconsciously your brain and your mind's primary purpose is to protect and preserve your life. So if you think money is evil and bad, why would you subconsciously create money opportunities? Remember, you have a subconscious mind that's responsible for 65,000 thoughts that you have in a day. You have 65,000 thoughts. And 95% of them are unconscious, coming from your subconscious mind. So if subconsciously you have a negative relationship with money, you're not going to create it. Remember, it's a medium of exchange. We used to use cows. Just imagine if in your house you had a bunch of cows and they were pooping on your floor. You would try and get rid of all the cows. You wouldn't even want the currency, but that's what used to be what currency. You were rich if you had a bunch of cattle. And then we went to coins, but it's pretty hard to have that much money carrying around with coins. You get it robbed, you lose it, it's hard to carry, it's heavy, you don't want to carry around coins. We went to paper eventually. That's all it was. It was just paper. It's an idea. And then we went from that to plastic cards. Plastic cards, that's what it was. It was a medium of exchange. We used plastic cards. And then we went to the speed of light. You press a couple buttons, the money sends all over the world, and it's there in a couple seconds. It's just an idea. It's just a medium of exchange that's convenient. Imagine if we did not have money and there was no agreed upon medium of exchange or currency, and I wanted to buy your artwork from you, but we didn't have money. So I was like, dude, let me just give you my shirt. I'm like, this cost me $50. Come on, this is expensive. And you're like, I don't want your shirt, dude. I don't want your shirt. I already have a nice shirt. Give me some milk. And I was like, where am I gonna get milk from? I don't have any cows. And you're like, well, I want milk. And I'm like, well, take my t-shirt and you can trade it for somebody else for milk. We'd be in a world of total chaos. Imagine going on to Amazon.com and you're trying to get a cleaner for your house because your floors are really dirty, but you don't have any money. We don't use money, and you're trying to trade them your old phone. You're trying to send it. We would live in total chaos. Money's really valuable. It's really great. I'm really grateful for it. It makes everything so simple. It makes everything so convenient. Understand, it's simply a medium of exchange, and when you grasp that, then life gets exciting, because the only way to create more of it is to add more value. And when you develop that type of a healthy relationship for money, you put yourself in a position to create a lot more of it. Number 2, people pay you for the value you create, not your time. See, people get stuck on this idea of how much money per hour they make, and they get trapped in this idea of, well, if I just work more hours, I'll make more money. But if you actually look at and you study wealth and wealth creation, most of the people that are creating tons of money, they aren't working by the hour. In fact, I don't know anyone who works by the hour that creates a lot of money. They are in a position where they're creating value, so much value in fact, that they're paid well for it. And a lot of times it's even passive value. So get this idea that you're not paid for the amount of time that you work. If you were, then we'd all be paid the same. Right? Like you would work for, let's say that you were over at the Genius Bar at the Apple Store and you worked 40 hours a week. Well, why aren't you making the same amount of money as Tim Cook? He's making like $60 million at Apple and you're making $15 an hour if you live in California. Otherwise, a lot less than that. Well, then you can't be paid for your time. You have to be paid for the value. So why is it that two people work the exact same amount of time in the exact same profession and one person makes 10 times or 5 times or 2 times as much money? Somebody says, well, it's capitalism. Well, it's greedy people. No, it's that guy isn't that valuable. If he was more valuable, he'd be paid more money over time. That's just the way that it works. Why is it that in my industry, there's motivational speakers that make $50,000 an hour and there's other people, no one will even let them speak for free? Why? They're not that good. They're not that valuable. They don't have that much experience. They don't have that ability. Why is it one consultant is charging a $50,000 package and the other person's charging $50 an hour? They're not that valuable. Or they haven't figured out how to package their services in a valuable way. So grasp this. You're not paid for your time. You're paid for the value that you bring to your profession, you're paid for the value that you bring to your customers, and you're paid for the value that you bring to the marketplace. Now that's a crazy concept because almost every single person is thinking about, well, if I do this and this, then I'll be paid $14 an hour, $15 an hour. They're stuck in that trap. They're stuck in the time dollar trap. But if you look around, 95% of people are struggling. I think about 65% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. 9 out of 10 people die with less than $10,000 and no financial assets. About 2/3 of retirees are dependent on someone else to support them financially. Why? Because they're all stuck on this time for dollar trap. They don't take a step back and see what value they can create from the world. So that's what's exciting, is that if you only make, hypothetically, $12 an hour, you don't need to necessarily work more, but you need to become more valuable to your boss, to your employees, to the customers, and slowly but surely you can go to 13 to 14 to 15. You start to get a grasp of it, like my fiance did. She went from a $12 an hour job all the way up to $17 an hour to taking a step back and starting to create her art business where she makes 4 or 5 times as much money when she worked 40 hours a week managing a clothing store. Why? She's providing a lot more value with her art than she was when she was folding clothes at a clothing store. Nothing wrong with folding clothes at a clothing store, but if you feel like you're meant for more in life, you've got to be able to take a step back and give somebody something they need. People love art. People want something of value. So she started getting really good at her art. And when she got really good at her art, people started paying her $500, $1,000, $700. What she would make in 2 weeks, working 40-hour work weeks, 80 hours, she could make in 6 hours now. Why? Because she's gotten really good at something that's valuable to people. So you got to ask yourself, what are needs? What are values that people have? And how can you get better at them so you can serve people in a more powerful way? And when a service is great, what? People will pay more money for it. So you're not paid for your time, you're paid for your value. Now that's 100% personal responsibility, because if you're not paid for time, and you can't blame time, well, there's only so many hours in a day. Well, I can only get so many hours at work. If you can't blame it on that, then we're the ones that are responsible for our own lives. We've got to say, I gotta take total personal responsibility for my craft, for my profession, for what I do for a living, and how can I get better at that to serve people, to help people improve their lives. And that's where the real magic is. So you're not paid for time, you're paid for value. So the question is, how can I provide more value to my marketplace, to my customers, to my boss, to my employees, and to my fellow people that I'm working with? And then life gets interesting. Number 3 is a statement that I want you to say with me. I take total personal responsibility for my money situation. Unless you take total personal responsibility for your money situation, whether it's an under-earning, you think you should be making more money, or whether you're in debt or you don't have any savings, unless you take responsibility for that, you can't change it. It's impossible to get out of debt if it's not your fault. If it's your mom's fault, if it's the economy's fault, if it's the banks and the college's fault, if it's your old boss's fault, if it's your dad's fault, you cannot get out of debt because you need to fix them psychologically before you can actually have this change in your life. Does that make sense? You have to take total personal responsibility in order to change anything in your life. So if it's somebody else's fault why you're in a financial position that you're in, then you cannot rise out of it ever. Even if somebody did something bad, unless you say, okay, somehow I promoted that, somehow I created that, somehow I allowed that, and now you take a step back and you move forward, you can't move forward and create what you want if it's other people's faults financially. So there's this thing that Jim Rohn used to always say. He used to say, well, if your mom changed, if your dad wasn't so negative, if your friend wasn't so negative, if the blue people were politicians in office, if the red people, Democrats, Republicans, or independents were in office, how much would your bank account change? Not much. Everyone's sitting around saying, well, if the red people were in office, well, if the white people, well, if the black people, well, if the green people, well, if these people, well, if my mom wasn't so negative, well, if my dad would just listen to me, well, if I just had a little bit more resources, well, if I had just a little bit more money, well, if they would have taught me in school, I wasted all this money in school and I didn't learn anything, then I'd have money. If my mom would have just given me $500 more this month, then I'd be in a good spot. You can never create freedom. You can never create any level of success if you're blaming other people unconsciously. So together, now this is a hard one, right? This is a really hard one to do because it's easy for us to carry a story of it being somebody else's fault. So let's do this together. I take total personal responsibility for my money situation. I remember 6-7 years ago, $0 in the bank, working my butt off to build my career as an author. Every dollar I made, I spend. Maybe that sounds familiar, or maybe you know someone that's like that. They make $3 grand, $5 grand a month, but they don't have any money. They're in debt still. In fact, the average credit card carrier is $10,000 in credit card debt. So just picture that for a minute. That here I am, I'm working my butt off. Maybe it reminds you of yourself, and I have no money. And I'm thinking, well, if there was better people in office, well, if I got higher speaking gigs, if I was paid more money for my speaking gigs, well, if I had just sold another 10,000 books, if that publisher would have gave me a book contract, if I would have had a little bit of support, if I was a little bit older. Wait. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. There's someone with every debilitating thing you can think of. Too old, too young, no arms, no legs, no education, born in a third world country, mom and dad weren't around. Anything you can think of that you think your reason is why you can't create money, chances are there's a rich person who has the same problems as you. So, when we take total personal responsibility, we put ourselves in a position to win. So I had to say, look, I'm not being responsible with my money. I'm spending it all. I need to start saving. I need to start paying myself first. I need to put myself in a position to invest. I need to start to build 6 months worth of capital so that I have a level of security. And I started putting money away. And I started doing these things that I was not responsible with before. And it put me in this amazing position. So when you take total personal responsibility for where you are financially, then from there you can create it however you want, but not until you take that responsibility. Number 4, the more that I serve, the more that I earn. I can remember looking back, like I shared, and not being in a good financial place with my career. I thought, is this ever gonna work? Am I ever gonna be able to even afford to pay for a nice place to live? Am I ever gonna be able to not stress about money? Am I just gonna be stuck like this forever? And I took a step back. I was listening to a recording by Bob Proctor, and he said in the recording that you are paid for your ability to do what you do, the difficulty in replacing you, and the need for what you do. So when there's a need, and there's a need for everything, there's a need from someone who's a cookie salesman to a motivational speaker to an artist, there's a need for people that create amazing printers. There's a need for everything in the world to some relative degree. So there's a need, right? So the next step is the difficulty in replacing you. How good are you at it? If you're easy to replace, if I am easy to replace, as a speaker, as a coach, if you watch my videos and I disappeared forever, would you even notice that I was gone? Because if not, I'm not gonna be able to gain subscribers. It's not gonna work like that, right? So the difficulty in replacing me and my ability to do it, how good can I get? How much value can I provide to you? So I had to take a step back and say, well, if what I earn is contingent upon how I serve, I'm only serving with a book. That's all I had was a $10 book. There's only so many people that want to read. There's only so many people that can hear about me. So I took a step back and I said, what other programs and offers could I have? I started doing one-on-one coaching. I started doing group coaching. I started running my own seminars. I started having accountability programs. I put together 5 or 6 online programs. All of a sudden, every single year, my income has doubled and doubled and doubled and doubled and doubled. Why? Not because I'm special, not because I'm gifted, it's because I started to serve people more. So you can say to yourself, how can I provide more service? How can I get better at what I do? What is it that I want to do firstly? Now, you may have numerous things that you do professionally over the course of your life, but let's focus on one cash flow thing for right now, and then we'll branch off from there. So how can you get better at it? Seriously, how can you get better? Are you reading the right books? Are you studying sales or marketing? Are you learning what your customers need more of so you can get better at it? What are you doing? Because the more that you can serve, the more that you can earn. Why is it that Steve Jobs created billions of dollars for himself? Because he changed the whole world. He served the whole world. He created iPhones and he created Macs and he solved the problem that we had. Now we're connected all across the world. So what does that mean? It means that he's paid well. Elon Musk, the creator of Tesla and SpaceX and PayPal and all those types of companies, multi-billionaire, his ex-wife was asked, well, I want to be a billionaire, someone said. Will I become one? And she said, you're asking the wrong question entirely. The question is, what does the world need? And if you serve that need powerfully, the world will pay you. The world doesn't care what you want. It cares, will you provide the amount of value that you desire in return? So Elon Musk, perfect example, creates a really convenient PayPal so we can be able to send money all around the world really easily. Electric cars, he's transforming all of the environment. He's got a solar company, he's sending people to Mars. Man, that guy's valuable, so no wonder he makes billions of dollars, right? So when you take a step back and you say, it's not because one person's lucky, it's not because one person's greedy, this is all in my own power and I need to get more valuable at what I do, you put yourself in a position to win. So you're paid for the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. So how good can you get at what you do? How much can you honor your craft and your customers and clients that you serve? Number 5, stop settling for less than you're worth. When you find out how much you're worth, when you look at what other people similar are earning and the type of life that they're living, then you'll stop giving people discounts. So you gotta be able to say, what is it that I want to create? Like, what is my income goal? What is my real value that I could provide to the world? Write that goal on a piece of paper, decide what your value is, and then stop settling. Most people spend their whole lives settling. Why? Because your brain's primary purpose is protect and preserve. We've needed to protect and preserve all through human history. That's how our ancestors evolved to today. It's the only reason the human species is still alive. Why? Because we needed to run from giant things that could eat us. We needed to be able to run from the elements, right? We needed to be able to get away from extreme cold, extreme heat. We genuinely needed to be able to survive with our survival instincts. Today, you're not gonna have a giant animal come into your yard and eat you. You're just not. These things aren't gonna happen. But the brain hasn't evolved. So now, because we don't have impending threats on our life, now our brain is focused on how to keep us safe. It's scared of failure. It's scared of raising your prices because it doesn't want you to be rejected. It's scared of putting its all into something and it not working out. So then it rationalizes. It tells you, you really shouldn't put that much into it. You really should lower your prices. Well, da 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 da. And it just keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. And it rationalizes you out of your dreams. The word rationalize. Ration lies. It's rationing lies to us to not step up big, to not go for our dreams. So we constantly give everyone discounts, giving everything that we have, and we end up stuck again. So stop settling. I've got a free success hypnosis on how you can really program your mind so you do stop settling. The link is below. It says jakeshypnosis.com. You can start listening to it. It'll change your whole life. But remember, when you pick what your goal is, don't settle. It's gonna be scary. You're gonna wanna give up. You're gonna think you're gonna fail. People are gonna laugh at you. You're gonna wonder if you're good enough. But that's the whole exciting thing, that your growth as a person, your character, that long term is gonna be the real value, not the money you make. So if you quit, so if you give up, so if you keep giving people discounts, so if you keep settling for less than you're worth, you don't grow as a person and you can't grow in your bank account the way that you want. So this is Jake Ducey from jakeducey.com, reminding you that there are so many people out there that are creating financial success at their chosen endeavor. In fact, there's more money printed every single solitary day. It's just paper. It's printed every single day. It's out there for all of us, but the only way that it will come is if we develop a healthy relationship with it, if we recognize what it is. It's an instrument. It's an instrument to serve people, to have more options in life. And then if we commit to our craft, if we get good, really good at what it is that we want to do, and we focus on that, we lose touch with all the goals and we get emotionally involved with how good we can get at what we want, how we want to serve in the world. Then life opens up, the kingdom opens up, the gates open up, we move in a position to succeed, to grow, to win, to serve people in a powerful way. So I'm reminding you to replay this video, to write your goals down, to listen to my free success hypnosis, and to start today. To ask yourself, how can I get better at what I do? To start studying more, to go ask for a raise, to go raise your prices, to put your heart and soul into your work, because you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family, and you owe it to your customers. So be sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification in the corner, download my free success hypnosis, comment your favorite part that has inspired you. I'm so thankful for you to be here. This is Jake Ducey from jakeducey.com, and I'll see you on the next video.